Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast Channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.
Conservation Commission, January 13th meeting to order. We'll start with introduction of members.
Valerie Fanger.
Trevor Matera.
Connor Madison.
Dave Short.
Andrew Koff.
Keith Whitehouse. Kyle Welch.
Bill Campbell.
And Kyle, at least until Michelle gets here, you're going to be a voting member. Yep.
Okay.
All right, do we have any public comment that is not related to an agenda item? Nope. All right, the first thing then is we're going to have the Snow Raiders Snowmobile Club has a landowner permission request. So I don't know if the landowner or the representative is going to address this.
So Tom Bassett is here, but just for, from the Snow Raiders, so is Laura Barker, who is the property owner of the conservation easement. But just for a little bit of background, it's been a while since we've seen this landowner snowmobile use request. It used to be the Exeter Snowmobile Club. They kind of have sort of disbanded, it feels like. And now the Newfields Group is seeking permission basically to do the same. It includes use of the existing trails, trail maintenance, which can include some tree trimming. So I just want you all to be aware of that. But Tom Bassett is here and can speak to it. If you want to go up to the...
Over there.
So your packet did include the trail alignment, so you have a sense for which properties in town we're talking about. This permission is only for those that you have a land interest in, so either conservation easement, and in the case of an easement, the property owner also needs to give permission, and then those that are fee owned.
So I've got permission from everybody along the trail, the landowners. I just need the time to sign for the places where the trail is on the town property. Going by the condos over there by Watson Road, and there's a few places. But
Yep.
the map pretty much shows it.
Yeah, and your organization or your group is comprised of a lot of people that were formerly with the other one, right?
No, well, some of the people in the other club joined ours. But
Yeah.
our club in Newfield has been going since 1970. It's just, that was their trail for a long time, so, but since they disbanded, we want to just keep it open, because it's our way of getting from the Oaklands out to the Rockingham Recreational Trail.
Right.
And our club grooms the recreational trail from Rockingham Junction to Candia at the tunnel with the Tucker Snowcat.
Right. Anybody have any questions?
So on the map, it's this red line that loops,
Yeah.
and it's mostly along the power lines.
It's mostly on the power lines, and then it goes up. I got the map here in my phone.
So basically from QB Road, right?
Right.
And then it goes through kind of the middle of those properties there, through the bunker easement, which is with it, toward the power lines, crosses that road, and then continues up. And essentially, it's the old telephone line trail.
Yeah, right.
Right.
That's the underground telephone line trail, roughly.
Right.
Your packet did, so there had been a little bit of contentiousness, which closed or rescinded the permission from the property owner in the past. I did include in your packet some requested conditions. These are, her permission is contingent upon these. So if you're supportive of that and moving this forward, we would want you to include those conditions as well.
I'll read the conditions that have been requested. The trail stays out of the paddock and avoids the causeway driveway. Newfield Snow Raiders President Thomas Bassett is responsible for addressing any concerns that may occur as a result of the use of the trails. The property owner, Laura Barker, retains the right to rescind permission of use within this section should riders not adhere to these restrictions upon notification to the Snow Raiders President by phone. Anybody got any thoughts on that, or seems pretty straightforward?
Seems fair.
So there's a horse paddock that needs to be avoided. It's the long and short of it. In a driveway. Seems reasonable.
It's right up by Watson Road.
Yeah, right where Watson,
Yeah.
in the power lines through that area.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we're putting the trail outside of her fence. We went over and actually trimmed outside of the fence the other day because I had a crew that could do it. So it's gonna be outside the fence. I got no snowmobile signs up so that they don't go in there.
Okay, so you're okay with this condition?
Oh, yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
I
Good.
mean, we wanna keep her happy.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping people stay under control and stay in the trail. I got plenty of signs that say stay in trail or stay home. So,
Yep. All right, there's something here about the period of years this would go for. What have we done in the past?
It's varied. The last iteration, we had reduced it to 1 year permission because of some other questions. And so there had been years we had done every 4 years. The state, I believe, is every year.
the Fish and Game is every year.
Correct.
There's town of Newfields and the town of Epping sign a 5-year one for Cuba Road and for Birch Road. They-
All right, well, I think since it's, we've got the landowner request involved with this one, let's just make it a year this time. And then we'll take it from there.
All right, and we can come back and see you again next year,
Yeah.
make sure everything works good.
All right, then I would move that authorize the chair to sign the snowmobile landowner permission request for a period of 1 year with the following conditions specific to the bunker easement. And those are the conditions that I just read.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll have Dave sign the form. I'll get you both copies of that. And I have both of your emails, so. Thanks for coming out. Yeah, nice to meet you.
Don, it looks like Don is I don't know if we want to acknowledge Don.
How can I switch this over?
Wait, Kristen, did Don
Yeah.
ever get in, or?
Don is in the meeting.
So if you can ask him.
I'm here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm on Zoom.
I think I'll still be.
So it'll just.
Can hear you guys.
Hey, Don.
Hey, Don.
Hi there. Good evening.
Don Clement has just joined us via Zoom,
Just minimize that.
and Michelle Crapo just visited. All right.
She zoomed in.
Our next item is, we've got the Ray Farm Building D revision. June 2025, we had voted in support of both the wetland and shoreline conditional use permits. Since that time, the applicant has revised the layout for the building. Review of both submissions is that there have been no changes to the wetland buffer impacts, and the redesign results in a slight increase to the shoreland impacts. As a result, we only need to take action on the shoreland CUP. The planning board voted in support of this project last night, contingent on a positive recommendation from the Conservation Commission.
Last Thursday.
Last Thursday?
Yep.
The applicant has also filed for a minimum impact wetland permit. And then we have let's see. Two people here to speak to this, Brendan Quigley and Katharina Morrill. They're each going to give a brief overview of what's going on and mainly focused on the changes. And then we'll open it up to the board to ask questions.
Thank you very much. Brendan Quigley, I'm a wetland scientist with Gove Environmental, here on behalf of Willie Creek LLC, and of course this is for the Ray Farm, the fourth building in the Ray Farm condominium project. As your introduction noted, we have two things that we're here to discuss. One is the state application, and that relates to the direct wetland impacts, of course, which all occur at the first part of the driveway there. The second thing is to follow up with the Conservation Commission after some changes were made to the project, most of which relate to the location of the building itself, which is all outside of the wetlands and buffers, but which, excuse me, precipitated a number of small changes in sort of at the outskirts of the building and the alignment of the driveway, such that the impacts changed a little bit. So I will note that it's actually the reverse of what you had just read. It's the shoreland impacts were relatively straightforward and less, and I'll get into this in more detail. It was the wetland buffer impacts that were a little more complicated, and I think during technical review, at least, was made clear that those the Conservation Commission would benefit from some more information in detail on those. So that's what I have ready for you. I'll start with the dredge and fill application. This relates to the impacts, if I can use this, that occur at the driveway as it crosses Watson Brook, as well as another small finger of wetland right before that. This is the, well, we'll get back to that. That's the old plan. The current plan here with the impacts. If you remember from the site walk, I think a number of you were on, there is an existing woods road that sort of extends from the current end of Ray Farm Road. And there is a failing corrugated metal pipe in that crossing, which is right here. So the proposal is to, of course, to accommodate the access driveway, is to replace that, and it will be upgraded with a 14-foot wide open bottom box culvert. This is the same crossing that was discussed with the commission in June. Nothing about that has changed. So it's a much better crossing, much larger in all respects, better for the stream and for passage of wildlife. The impact just before that, so a small finger of wetland, there's no stream in that location. That has changed a little bit, but in essence is the same. And in total, there's 1,665 square feet of wetland impact proposed. And those you can kind of see in red areas there, hatch in that drawing. Additionally, there's some temporary impacts which you can see vaguely, and I have a better view when we get into more detail of this at the edge. And this is one thing that was not as well defined in the initial proposal back in June. These are temporary impacts for construction of the wall, and they'll be restored. So that's just over 700 square feet. Altogether, 2,400 square feet of total wetland disturbance, and for a significantly better crossing. We did get some questions from DES. I'm looking to clarify them. I'd characterize them as minor in the scheme of what we often get from the state by way of comments. We've also had concluded our review with relative to rare, threatened, endangered species. It's not conducted by Fish and Game anymore. They sort of rolled it into DES, and it's now called ecological review, but we have concluded that review, and they've asked for the standard things that they usually look to exclude turtles from the work site and that sort of thing. Those will all be on the final plans. That's pretty much it for the dredge and fill permit. As far as, and I can stop now for questions, or we can do that sort of at the end.
Let's do it at the end.
Okay. What might be a little bit more of a lift to explain is the conditional use permit impacts. So that would be the mostly in this case the wetland CUP. The shoreline, this is the original plan that was discussed back in June and which was approved. It shows the original building. Just have that for reference. The primary change in the shoreline is this whole area here. This would previously went right down to the edge of the wetland buffer. There's been several other small, there's some of the effect of overlapping impacts. So there's a number of small changes. That's the big one. Overall, shoreline impacts decreased from 42,000 to 40,600. And again, in the scope of the project relative to the main impacts in the crossing is all the same. So in discussions with staff, that was, it seemed pretty clear that was likely not going to require much action by the Conservation Commission.
And just to pause you for a second. So our standard practice has been, if you've seen a conditional use permit, revisions changed from after you saw it, if those impacts decrease, we don't bring them back to you again, because it's assumed that if you approved more impacts, you're fine with less.
Thank you,
But
Chris.
can you clarify, though, because the memo is a little different than
I think that's a good
what
question.
Brendan's presenting?
So Kat's memo, Kat, you had mentioned shoreline buffer. The June plan was 39,535, and the amended total was 42,236. Is this different from those numbers?
Yeah, I can explain.
Okay.
So the original, it's a little bit misleading. There's kind of two amendments. This is the plan that was presented to you in June and which subsequently approved by the planning board. What it has on it, and which the original plan that might have been in your packets that night did not have, is, why does this never work on it? There was an area that was omitted, an area of shoreline impact that was omitted on this side of the driveway, as well as at the time some impacts proposed for grading leading up to that trail. So these impacts here, which were discussed and approved by the planning board, total of 42,236. And
Of shoreland buffer.
Of shoreland buffer, yep, between the 100, 0 to 100 and 100 to 150, the two zones. So that, in the revised project that was presented to the planning board and was discussed at the technical review, that impact has decreased to 40,645. And I do have that plan somewhere in my, I tried to not overload myself with, so this is the amended project, and you can see the majority of those changes come from this area here.
Well, and that's reduced. You've moved the building back into up the slope away from the
Yes, the
shoreland area?
Yeah, and we have a full complement of engineers here that can talk a little bit more detail about how exactly the building was changed. It's the same size building and the same number of units. It was shifted back such that this large area of shoreland impact here was avoided.
So under what Kristen just said, so if that's the case, then we wouldn't typically review this, right?
I didn't want to speak for you, but that's my understanding.
Okay.
Is that we have basically the same project. Some changes made the impacts less. So I had planned to deal with the shoreland CUP in a cursory manner tonight, as we have more difficult things to talk about with the wetland buffers. But of course, we're here to answer any questions we can that you have.
Apologies for the confusion, I misinterpreted the letter.
And the planning board previously approved the shoreland CUP.
Yeah, so on Thursday, January 8th, the planning board did sign off on conditional approval of this application. There was a relevant condition to this, and it was that the final plan shall adhere to any conditions set forth by the Conservation Commission with regard to wetlands and shorelands conditional use permits. So yes, they moved the project forward, but they wanted to acknowledge the opportunity that you might have some comments or conditions. The other thing that's important is it still tiers back to the original conditions that the application received under its first approval timeframe.
That was my next question. What conditions did we include last June?
So did you include, or did the planning board?
I would say the planning board.
The planning board, yeah, at this point.
Okay, I was prepared for the other answer.
Or us, because they probably adopted what we did, but.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought I was prepared for the other answer.
No, I meant to say the conservation, what conditions did we?
We can change it.
Yep.
Just give me 2 seconds, sorry.
Yes, we could look it up, but I don't know if it's linked in our.
Yes, just gonna say that.
Our notes. We could.
Just for the record, Bruce Scammon, the building is in the same location. We've just mirrored it.
Okay.
So we didn't move the building at all. Originally, the parking underneath was at the top of the building, and we've actually moved it to the bottom of the building because we're gonna have to have a lot more excavation at the top of the building because that's all higher in ledge, and the grade at the bottom of the building was already lower, so it was more natural to drive underneath it from the lower side than it was. And we've added a bioswale to make sure that all water was treated prior to anything leaving that pavement on the lower side. Just help clarify where the building is located.
So the conditions that you included in the last Concom meeting was, relative to this application, was to reduce impacts associated with the pedestrian trail connecting Building C and Building D, and retain natural and limited use buffers to the greatest extent possible. To protect from further development the original proposed Building D location in perpetuity within the condominium documents. For the Shoreland CUP, you also had the following conditions: to reduce parking and associated impacts within the shoreline buffer to the greatest extent possible, that an additional landscape plan be supplied specifying seed mix within the disturbance areas, that temporary impacts within the shoreline buffer meet 85% revegetation, upon completion of the project, and to minimize salting on the access road, specifically at the wetland crossing.
So we do have some restoration proposals. There's some changes to where that's going to be as well. So we do have that. And although it's outside of the shoreline, I might have added to the confusion. There was some changes to the scope of work for the trail, which is essentially, it's already there. So there's no grading necessary, that location. That's why that has been removed.
The trail is, right, the trail's in place, but there was a bridge or something?
There was,
That was
there was
gonna
like
be-
a very narrow single-track bridge type of thing that will be replaced with a more walkable version, but still a trail bridge.
Okay.
It was going to be quite a bit wider, wasn't it?
I'm sorry?
It was going to be quite a bit wider than what exists presently.
Yeah, something that'd be more suitable for the residents to walk over than,
Golf carts.
yeah. Oh, no, not golf carts, no. I think that was one of the, things that we were a little bit unsure about when we first came here in June. That's since been clarified, so no golf cart. The plan is for this to be a walking trail.
And can you point out where the land is that's going to be conserved, just out of curiosity?
Oh, the original building is off that map.
It's off.
It's down and left. It's like closer to the mobile station.
The other side of the lot.
So original location for building D was down in this area here. And you can see why that's, was less than desirable. That violated the 75-foot setback, wetland setback, as well as a very large area of the wetland buffer. It was a smaller building and less than ideal location relative to the abutting property. So those are some of the reasons that my understanding of the impetus for moving this. And I believe that's been discussed and that's fine to be incorporated in some manner.
And is it going to be that whole area, or that's going to be, or do you know yet?
Well, it's not going to be like a conservation easement. It's just going to be as open space in the condominium documents.
And that means it can't be developed on?
That's the intent, yeah.
Because I think that was the condition.
Yep, then that's not something I've been involved in much
Okay.
detail with.
I'm just-
so.
I mean,
If anyone else on the team wants to speak up,
our condition
feel
was
free.
protect from further development the original proposed building delocation in perpetuity. So, within the condominium documentation.
not hearing any objections, I'm going to assume that
And Valerie, just for your,
Yeah.
reassurance, we do review the condominium docs before the final plans are signed, before
Okay.
the chair signs final plans.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that
And
clarification.
I think we decided it was too complicated or too, we didn't want to pursue an easement, a deeded easement at that time.
I think that's right.
I think we had this conversation
Yeah.
and we ended up let's just settle and keep
Yeah.
it simple.
Yeah,
it can,
I could be wrong on that, but that seems familiar.
okay.
Bruce Scanlon, it's my understanding that we're keeping it just the way it was originally approved, that we haven't changed anything and any part of where the original building delocation was to what was approved by the Conservation Commission and the Planning Board previously. So
Okay.
we were not trying to change any of that language or
Okay.
anything as this new approved.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
so. Are there any more questions about the shoreland? I thought that might be the easier one, but we can always go back. What I'd really hoped to do tonight, because it was relatively confusing, is to clarify the buffer and the wetland buffer and wetland impacts as relates to the change between the two. To do that, I've just done like an overlay here. You can see the magenta lines, that is the outline of the impacts that were approved in June. As a sort of a base for the plan is the impact plan for the amended project that's before you tonight. First of all, just pointing out, it's difficult to even see this as not a real significant change. The driveway is still in the same spot. The most important parts of the crossing, the large open bottom box culvert is still intact and in the same place. Retaining walls are still being used along the sides to minimize the grading impacts into the wetlands across the whole section there. So the approved project had 1,790 square feet of wetland impact and 12,345 square feet of buffer impact. The revised project, just the sort of the bottom line numbers, is slightly more than that at 12,008, can't read my, 806 of buffer impact and 2,400 square feet of wetland. But there's a few things going on there. One is that the temporary impacts were not that were not defined during the initial application. There's also a slight shift over to the right. You can see the difference between the line there. I guess I'll also point out that whole area of grading has been taken away. We did continue to to characterize some impact in the trail itself. That would be sort of for normal trail maintenance activities. And I've colored those yellow because these are what I would characterize as temporary impacts. Some of that is wetland. These slivers right here, and those are just, to construct the wall. It's all going to be restored after it's done. And there's areas of buffer that are the same along the wall. There's also areas of buffer impact which are being incurred by grading. So while these are an impact, they're going to be restored with a seed mix in a natural way. So there's somewhat in between, so to speak. And if you consider these as something separate, the impacts are really quite equivalent and even less. Without these areas in yellow, we actually have 1,655 square feet of wetland impact and 8,532 square feet of buffer. And I realize that temporary is still an impact, but I think that it does help inform how the two different iterations of this project are really equivalent, if not equal, in terms of the wetland impacts.
And just for clarification, the previously approved numbers from June, those are just permanent impacts that were totaled there, essentially without the temporary impacts embedded within them?
It was all characterized as permanent.
Got it.
Now, some of that, as these things are designed, there is sort of usually an allowance for construction impact. And I believe that was the case here as well. But that might have been a little bit conservative in terms of, giving themselves more room than was actually needed. Then on top of that, it was redesigned by a new engineer, Bruce and his team, implemented these changes from technical perspective. So there's a slightly different way of doing things. So there's a number of slight moves here. But in the end, we're very, very comparable, if not slightly less, in terms of overall impact. My hope was that this graphic sort of, even if you didn't get too deep into the numbers, you could look at this and really get an idea of basically the same thing happening here. And again, the biggest changes really are these two areas of grading, because the road was shifted over slightly and the alignment just changed ever so slightly due to the way it meets the development, the building pad. And that's something we discussed with the planning board as being a good target for natural restoration, which wouldn't just be limited to those areas as well. It'd probably continue up that slope. Up all this grading here as well. Hopefully the silence means that we don't have to.
The only clarifying question I have, and it's just me being curious, is the retaining wall going all the way? I guess I'm not sure of why the yellow in the top left corner was added. If we're shifting the road away.
believe the retaining wall just got shorter there. Is that?
Bruce Gammon. The biggest change in the numbers is the 4 feet that we used along the whole side of the retaining wall down the length. We like to include a 4-foot temporary disturbance because we figure that construction crews aren't necessarily perfect in their execution, and so we like to show a 4-foot. So on 200 feet of road, 4 feet on each side is 8 feet, so that's about 1,600 square feet of impact that's added on. The retaining wall goes all the way to here. It's the fill that you have to wrap around the back side of it because this is higher. I believe it's pretty similar to what was originally designed. I can't speak to what was presented in June. All I can tell you is when we looked at the numbers, it's really this 4 feet strip on both sides of the driveway. We like to be conservative in our numbers so that there's nobody that can say, okay, you have a bucket width further out than what was approved. So we always do that extra 4 feet that we talked about with Kristen at the technical review committee. So that's the really biggest part of the number change.
Thank you. So I guess where does that leave us? Do we need to?
So I apologize, but my memo had it backwards. It is the wetland conditional use permit that you're taking action on for a slight increase in impacts. But Brendan's point is those impacts are basically increases in temporary impacts.
Right.
So.
I'm okay with this.
Same.
I
Yeah,
don't have any comments.
Anybody else?
I don't remember what conditions we put on last time. Were they?
So you don't need to.
We don't need to.
restate.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, we don't because we can just. Good point.
I mean, if you want to just cover all your bases, say the conditions from the previous approval plus.
Well, and then there's the state permit we need to comment on.
Right.
Yeah. Did you want to get this one out of?
Yeah, let's get this one.
Okay.
Why don't you put a motion together?
I don't have the cheat sheet.
That peer pressure.
You don't.
Good try.
I can motion. So a motion that we have received the wetland conditional use permit application and are in support of the application with the conditions previously approved.
Second.
Okay, we've got a second. Further comment? All right. All those in favor? Aye? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Passes unanimously? Thank you. And now,
We have to do the minimum.
Yep.
statement. I just-
Should we just say no comments? I mean,
Tip. I mean, your packet has guidance that says you've reviewed this application and have no objection to the application as proposed. The other one is, we have reviewed this application and recommend the application be approved or denied as noted below.
I'll make a motion to send a memo to the state indicating we have reviewed this application and have no objection to the application as proposed.
I'll second that.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Wonderful.
Good evening.
See you Friday.
That's good.
Okay. Now, on to Trails for People and Wildlife Evaluation Follow-up from the December meeting.
right, so at the last Conservation Commission meeting, members of the trail user group came in with interest in exploring options for expanding the trail network. And we also talked about potential for reducing some of the trails that are redundant, et cetera, out there. I had raised the state has a model out there that they use for trail development called the Trails for People and Wildlife. And that data basically shows areas, if you're building a new trail network, areas that you should avoid constructing trails in. It's a data layer. It's all basically modeled based on different layers of habitat. So it's not, it all requires on-the-ground truthing, but I worked with our GIS coordinator, Linda Burbank, who is phenomenal. And we're incredibly lucky to have her. And she put together a tool for us to use in this process, because I was worried that it would be pretty complicated and it would be, paper maps all over the place. So, I'm going to show you that today. All right, so this is our trail network in GIS. This is ArcGIS Online, and she did create a public-facing version of this. I'm just showing you one because it has some sensitive data in it. And some of the notes that I had for, I was doodling on this map trying to consider trying to kind of get a feel for what we might consider. All right, give it a second, it'll load. I hope. There you go. So the way their model works is where you have the red you want to avoid, where you have blue, you're good to go for trails. And there's a series of things that they considered to build that model. It's steep slopes, it's presence of wetlands, and there's like 5 different layers. South-facing slopes, I think, was another one, and I can't remember the other 2. Streams, and yeah, that might be it. And so if you look at the existing trail network, when you overlay it on this, you begin to kind of get a sense for areas where, if we were to start from scratch, maybe we would have opted to put a trail in a different location, or we need to be really mindful of where trail crossings would be. And so, like, for example, if you can see my little hand thing or pointer, this area here, we would want to make sure that trail crossing is designed to minimize impacts on the resource. And so, you could do this and zoom in and take a look at all the trails in our network. But if you just kind of think a little broadly, historically, the commission, I've sat through numbers of iterations of this board. It's morphed over the years, but consistently, the feeling was the west part of Oakland should remain natural because it's a very sensitive area. And so if you look at the western section of Oakland, it becomes obvious why the commission felt that. And in my opinion, it's probably a position that should still be upheld. When you look at Henderson Swayze, it's a little bit different story. There's less sensitive wetland or wildlife habitats in there. You have a lot more blue in our trail network. This northwest corner maybe has some sensitive areas where you'd want to kind of do a closer dive. So the cool part about this is Linda, in her amazing abilities, has created this editable solution, right? And so you can go in here and, for example, that crossing that I said, well, maybe we'd want to think and make sure that crossing is in place. I could put like a little star there and check these crossings. If I want to identify areas where maybe there's potential conflicts with resource or redundant trails, I can highlight those trails and add some notes to it. And so, we've been talking a lot about redundant trails in the trail network, and in my opinion, this section is a very redundant portion of the trail network, and also encroaches quite closely to some sensitive resources. So if we were identifying potential segments that we'd want to consider closure, these could be it. The other thing I did was look at areas, if there was consideration for expansion, where would be the logical areas? And I just sort of drew polygons in the blue areas, but this could be anywhere and probably more, more closely designed. And so, so that's how the tool will work. The folks who were here last month did meet with Dave and I last week, I think it was. Or, yeah, I can't remember exactly when, but we went through this tool. And so they're kind of going to play with the tool and take a look at how it works so that, Valerie, I think you brought this up, and I think this was a very fair point, or Michelle, maybe it was you, I can't remember, but it's really easy for us to react to something. It's kind of hard to just sort of broadly, consider a proposal without really knowing what we're talking about. So they're using this to kind of put something together. And obviously, this is a tool that you could use as well. But I think it has strong potential to, move us forward in a direction where we could consider some areas for trail expansion, and we could also balance that out by finding areas where we might want to rescind some trails. Like I said, all of this requires on-the-ground truthing, so I would encourage you as a commission, whenever you're thinking about making changes, you take a look at what it looks like on the ground, because this is just a model, but it at least gives a starting point. The other component of the trails for people and wildlife is trail impact width. And so Fish and Game has done a data review and looked at what distances from a trail wildlife have indicated signs of having effects from trail use. And so those could be like elevated heart rates or alerting or et cetera. And they found that the literature is pretty clear that from 0, and I wish I had my numbers in front of me, but so correct me, so I might need to correct them next time, but it's 0 to 40 feet, things like reptiles and turtles, those species tend to react in that distance. 0 to 150 feet, you have birds that note when a user goes through, and up to 400 feet in width, then you can have wildlife that are, mammals that are alerting. And so when you're starting from a blank canvas, that's helpful because maybe you'd want to retain areas that are peaceful and usable and decent habitat that don't have a trail within 400 feet distance of these sensitive habitats. We kind of have a different animal in front of us here, but I think we would be remiss without talking about that potential of impact. I had presented a couple years ago, I think it was, to the commission. I buffered all of our trails by, I think it was 150 feet, and at 150 feet, there's very few areas that are unimpacted. At 400 feet, it's basically a blob with like two tiny spots. So just food for thought when you're going through this process. I want you to go through as informed as possible, and hopefully we have a tool that we can use moving forward. So I'm happy to answer questions. This is just a tool I'm learning about as well, but it's something that we can I can send the link to you, and you can sit and zoom in and out of the different, the different trail segments. One thing that the trail committee or the trail users, Fort Rock Rider Trail Committee, I think is, expressed was, right now, a lot of the parking is at Watson Road, and it's that north to south movement that is really challenging because of the condition of the trails. I think we should consider a rest rotation approach to our trails. A lot of the rootiness is because the trails, before we had the spaghetti bowl trails of, the Rug area and the Shaftmaster property, your trails were receiving heavy use and weren't designed for that level of use. And so maybe there are segments that could be evaluated for rest rotation. You start using this segment and open this up, but you're going to let this one lie fallow for a few years. And then what was the other point I wanted to make? And then I guess the third and final thing is, while we go through this process, and Dave was really clear about this, we've come really far with the trail users from a point where before, right when I first started, it was like, it was two opposing opinions and there really wasn't a whole lot of cross communication. In that process, we ended up with a lot of rogue trails that didn't serve anyone any justice, and we're really at a different spot now. I am so excited to have both of these groups together at the table and communicating. So thrilled beyond belief that we have Linda Burbank, and she's able to help us create a tool to help us through this process. So I'm here to help, but this is really your trail network. I can advise as someone in the field, but I think this is something that we'll need to work through. Anyway.
There.
I just want to make a comment about Linda and her very, masterly use of GIS. Thank you for working with her. It was our hope when we brought on a GIS specialist that this is the type of thing that would happen, and to see it playing out is very, it's very gratifying. So please give her my thanks personally for her work on this project. It creates so much, so much information, and that can bring people together and groups together. So great work.
I'll share that. Okay.
The group is getting together again tomorrow night, and I'm going to attend that. Just stay in touch with them. So. Okay.
Would adding topo to this map, like 2-foot contours, be useful?
It does bog down, like even with the data from the Trails for People and Wildlife, she could easily add
It's
contours.
just like a click and drag.
There's 2-foot light or contours she can pull in.
She can, yeah. It does
just didn't
bog
know
it
if that
down
would be
further,
helpful,
but
right?
yeah, definitely, contours are
You
amazing
could
in trail planning.
limit the zoom, like you could only show it when you're zoomed in enough to actually have it make
Make it a
sense.
threshold of like.
Yep.
And are these comments, so is it open to anyone to add? Because, if I go onto the public-facing website, will I see these proposed expansion area? Is that?
So you won't see this. This is my comments. This also has vernal pool data on here. And I didn't want to release that to the public. I certainly would share that information with you all. And it has data from a variety of surveys that have been done out there. But what I passed on as the public-facing link, it's unclear to me how it will work if multiple people start putting edits. So every edit that you put, you can name. And Linda said, as long as you are consistent in your naming, so maybe Concom, blah, 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 Concom Trail Edition or Concom Trail Modification or something like that, she can pull it out later.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Thanks, Kristen.
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good tool. Okay. Committee reports. I guess. Looks like Rain's outreach events would be property management. I think it's pretty quiet right now. Outreach events, Keith, I guess you've been doing the solstice.
Yes, that was awesome. We had over 100 people. It was really amazing to see a group of like a dozen kids, little kids, 5, 6, 7, running around like wild people through the fields. It was right after that rain. We had the 56-degree day and there was no snow. And they were laughing. It was awesome. Very, very nice. It's exactly what I hoped for. And a lot of grandparents, and parents. It was really, really good. So I would like to do something again, perhaps on the February 1st, which is the full moon. It's a Sunday. To do maybe a walk/snowshoe, depending on what happens with the weather. On that, so that the moon would rise about 5:30 or so. So, you know, at the time, and we did put up a sign this time outside, like a sandwich board type of sign, and it's on hinges, so it could flip the other way, so it could be used to, you know, say, event or snowshoe/walk or something of this nature. That could be done. But certainly would like to hear any and all ideas from anyone. We just don't want it to get stale, to get, you know, to have an event there, have cookies and hot cocoa and a bonfire outside. Did get a fire permit for 2026, so we were all good with the seasonal permit. And I happened to be there today when Cintas came, and he's going to get us a larger fire extinguisher for the eastern bottom door, so where the, you know, nearest to the fire, so that we can take that one outside during the fire events. So, you know, it's shaping up good. I also wanted to mention that Eric Sinclair took this picture in 1975 and he donated it to us. So this is awesome. It has the fence and a couple of trees that are no longer there, and then some trees that are there that were not here in this picture. So it's 50 years ago. So that's really cool. Very nice of him to do that. Thanks, Eric. We appreciate that. And, you know, and again, as I said last time, talking with Stephen, he says he's got about 25 days of work, 25 working days to be done. And if you really look around in there, there's just once his stuff is gone, it's really going to be wide open and ready to use. So very exciting. And to see that they're going to do the emergency lighting. The guy was taking notes today. We've done a few things that the fire department had asked us to do to comply with occupancy levels. Kristen has some signs we're going to post. And then I guess we're going to try to have an art show, right, Michelle?
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what I had.
So let's segue into the art show. Is there any further?
The 22nd, we're meeting with Karen Pryor, head of the 250th anniversary. I was going to say parade, but, so we're meeting with her, and we're just trying to see when to place it. So we're planning to have an art in the barn. We're going to extend it to artists in town, but youth too. We're going to try to get it so we can have kids put their art in there too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so this is our first meeting, the 22nd, so we want to talk with Karen to see when the best time to have it, and then work from there with the artists.
Yeah, I don't see how an event like that wouldn't be a success.
Right, yeah,
It's
exactly.
a matter of promoting it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think, you know, one of the central themes that all of us need to think about is that how do we get youth involved, right? Because at some point we all age out of this deal. It happens, trust me. So you know, getting people to go and see these things and do these things as kids.
Yeah.
And then they, you know, they get busy and they have their own kids and on it goes, and then all of a sudden they're 40 and they say, hey, you know, I could do something. Why don't I get involved? I remember when I was a kid, we used to do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's get involved. So I think that's key to, you know, perpetuating what we're doing here.
You know, in town, if you go to the library, you'll see a lot of the high schoolers. They'll have art shows in the library, so.
That's cool.
I'd like to get high school, but even younger kids too.
Yeah, yeah.
So, there's some good ideas. So if anyone's invited, it's Thursday, 1/22, I guess, the 22nd, at 11, yeah.
It's down,
Any artists down in here,
downstairs in the
yeah.
wheelwright, yeah, thank you.
I'm pretty sure Sarah's going to go.
Yeah.
She knows, I mean, we know some of the teachers that
Yeah,
in town, art,
exactly.
you know, art teachers at the elementary schools.
And that's what we need, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That'll help,
awesome.
Get the kids pulled in.
that could be a good person to pull in.
Rain barrel program, is there any sort of update on that, or?
Yeah, so we used to hold a rain barrel program where Concom contributed $200, and I think it was the first 10 people to purchase a rain barrel would get them at a discount. And so I'm requesting your consideration for the use of $200 to run that program again. I would really like, with the droughts coming, there's a lot, I feel like there's a lot of people reaching out and looking for this in the growing season. And if we think about a spring rain barrel program, it was very easy to pull off. They handle the orders. We have to receive them, and then one Saturday, Bill, you've helped me distribute them. You have a list of names, and people show up during a window, and they come and pick their rain barrel up, and everyone's excited. We pass around some educational materials with it. And so I think it's a great program and a great way to sort of promote one type of stormwater management activity you can do on your property, slow the rain from running off, and use it over time so that it can infiltrate. So I included that because their distribution times are filling up. April is almost full, and then they also have some dates in May, some Saturdays in May that we could do. I would like to partner with someone. It's always easier if someone is there to help me, kind of wrangle people if a bunch of people come at once. But DPW in the past has let us use their garage. The place wasn't open, but, we were just using it for flow of people through the driveway area. So I did we try to limit expenditure in the first quarter of the year, just because, we have not had town meeting and won't have it until March. But I felt like because the window was closing, I am reaching out for a $200 expenditure approval, if you'd be supportive.
Go ahead.
Yes.
All right. In addition to Keith's yes, I'll make a motion. We pitch in $200 towards the rain barrel program that will be implemented sometime this early spring. Second. Okay. I doubt there's any discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
And Kristen, I'd be interested in helping out, so just keep me in the loop.
I would too. Could we pair it with a styrofoam collection?
Our styrofoam collection bin will be up and operational by then, so
Yeah.
Good.
no need.
Too full. Oh.
We'll have our own.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's exciting.
Could have a
It's in-house,
stockpile.
but it's not set up, right?
It's not. We
It
have
will be around.
we have to get it hooked up electrically. We're working with the utility.
All right. Are there any other committee reports?
Yes. I have a couple items from the tree committee that I'm really excited to share. We applied for a Piscataqua Region's Estuaries Partnership Climate Impact Grant to fund the planting of 28 street trees. And we were notified, I don't have the official paperwork, but we were notified that we were successful in getting that grant. The grant funds the street trees, the purchase of the street trees, the water diapers, tree diapers,
Gators.
that not the bags, but the gel
the
things
flat
that sit
ones.
up, yep. Signage, three 11 by 17 educational signs about the benefits of trees, and then some smaller 6 by 6 signs that will be placed along the street, also educating about the benefit of trees. Includes collaboration with the Main Street School and Lincoln Street School, and so we're really excited about the program. There's still some location vetting to do, and I didn't include the locations in the grant, but our soft target is Front Street because it's wide open out there. We have space for planting. It takes some evaluation of the utility locations, but that's kind of our target area. But if it turns out we can't fit 28 trees along there, we can always sprinkle them in other locations. So I'm really excited to share that. And then, so the program is called Exeter's Heat Relief because it's a climate heat mitigation grant. And so it's LEAF. And so tree committee will get some swag that they can hand out at their events. We'll be tag teaming Alewife Festival, our annual spring tree program, and some of the other events that they already host to help spread the word about the benefit of trees for climate mitigation. So that's one item from the tree committee.
I've got a question about that.
Oh, yeah.
How long is the grant good for?
So it's a 2-year grant, and the goal is to split the planting between the 2 years.
Because with the drought still
I know.
going and the water restrictions are still in place, right?
They are,
We never lifted them.
Yeah.
yeah.
So who knows what this spring's gonna bring?
It's gonna rain.
I hope so.
All gonna go
I hope
away,
I hope-
and everything will work out
I
perfectly.
hope more than you do.
Yeah, I
I
bet.
have a comment, Mr. Chair. I want to thank you again for making it rain on the grant front. It's really remarkable the work you do, and I'm very appreciative.
Thank you. Yeah, this one I'm really excited for. I think there's a lot of fun components to it and a lot of connection pieces with the community, so I'm super excited for it.
Great work.
Good.
The second item the tree committee discussed just this morning was we had talked previously, Sally Ward proposed planting a serviceberry tree on the knoll at Rains as part of their annual planting efforts. But we have these Liberty elms that are currently planted at the library that are going to get too big for the space. And so the library has asked us to move them, and it just makes such a great space to plant them on that knoll at Rains. But I wanted to check with you all to see what you thought about that. If you're supportive, this could be another component of the 250th celebration, also bringing attention to Rains and the dedication benches that I really want to get up and in place.
How many elms are there that would have to be
One,
removed?
well, they talked about two 100 feet apart. I haven't really visually figured out how that would work, but there's just something so majestic about looking out across an open field and seeing like a really beautiful tree.
Yep.
So,
You think
Well,
you
if you're
could
gonna-
move them? They're small enough you could
Oh, yeah.
dig
they
them
are
up?
small enough.
But if we do move them, probably should do it no later than April. Well, before they leaf out.
Okay, duly noted. That is exactly what Kirk said this morning.
Do we need to check with the farmer?
I think in that area, he's really, despite us clearing that ridge, he does not mow up there.
It's extremely rocky on the
Right.
top of that knoll. It would need some love to make that a good planting spot.
Where the bench is?
The three benches.
The three benches? So we're talking in
The
there.
apex of the knoll, it's a good spot. It just needs some work because it's rocky.
Okay. We'll vet the site. But if you're supportive,
I'm supportive. I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's nice.
great,
I'll help move the trees if,
yeah, so what?
even better.
You get a group?
bring a shovel, I'll bring the burlap.
Sounds good.
Are they big enough that we need machinery to move?
DPW will
Will
help
help, yeah.
get them out and over there.
You know,
Great.
Oh, okay. I mean, they are pretty
they're
small.
tiny, yeah.
But one day they'll be
Oh, yeah.
giant,
They'll be
majestic.
Well, elms are pretty rapid growing once they, get
Take hold.
acclimated. Okay, we have some minutes to approve from the December 9th meeting. Everybody look those over? Okay, Connor's abstaining.
I didn't see any in the packet. I don't mean to be that
Okay.
that one.
We can
I can
table them.
approve them. I'm more
You
than happy
can't
to.
approve them if you haven't read them.
Yeah, I mean, he does such a good job.
Table.
I have no problem with that. Or, what's Drew's alternative?
If they're not in the packet, that we shouldn't approve them.
Two and next time.
Just
We can do
put
two
it
next time.
Okay,
We've done that before.
That's right.
all right.
It's 2 strikes in this meeting.
That's true.
No,
It's like
this is
you
a
have
benefit.
a lot to do or something, Kristen. That you have a few things going on. It's
It's a new
okay.
year, you're trying to get, she's trying to get
Wipes
loosened up
everything
again. All
Just keep
right.
getting the grants.
Our next
will
meeting
be
is
forgiven.
February 10th. Submission deadline is January 30th. And at 8:15, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Discussion, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Don't talk.
Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast channels 6 and 22. Channel 6 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 8, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.